All right, I get to switch camera angles. I've been trying this for a while. I get this all set up. I think I got it right. So, again, happy holidays. And I say great expectations because we all hope this next year is going to be amazing and fascinating. And we're just now starting to consider the things that have gone on in the past year. And one of the things that I would like to suggest is that the concept of being a good guest and a good host at events from here going forward should at least consider some idea of an award or reward for the people who host events. And while I'm not talking about making it so that you have to pay to go to a party, that's not what I'm referring to at all. But what I am suggesting is that acknowledging the hosts and the persons who put forth the effort to put an event together, it goes a great long way to promoting the idea of more events and getting people together more often. So we're going to talk a little bit about perhaps some holiday ideas if you are of a gift-giving culture and your holiday spirit invokes you to want to make purchases and such. These are some quickie ideas that are intended to make it so that you can provide either gifts for your guests in some minor way, or even just simply benefits that they might see as gifts. And likewise, in reverse, if you're going to an event, how you might provide a little something to the people who took the effort to put the games event together, and perhaps even the other participants. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So the first one is some bottle of bubbly. In the season of at the end of the year, with New Year's celebration right around the corner, and your regular, holiday festivities, a little bit of joyous spirit tends to come in a bottle. But I'm going to suggest that the bubbly might be something as simple as one form or another of fizzy apple cider. There are several different brands out there. And I'm not being sponsored by any of them in particular. So these ideas are just one-offs from my concepts, and they're not something that I'm being compensated for. But the idea of a bottle of bubbly, if you've got a group of 3 to 4 people, one bottle might work. If you've got 6 to 10, maybe a couple. But the idea is, even if you're not bringing the only one, if you're aware that other people are doing it, then it's just simply a way of acknowledging the hosts and providing them with a little support for the event. And it's more of a gift of sharing than it is a gift of compensation or awarding them for the effort. The second one is like the reverse. It's when you are a host for games. One of the things you can really do to accommodate, especially a holiday spirit, with people who are new and don't know each other, consider the few moments it would take to create paper table tents. The idea would be a 3x5 card or 5x7 card folded in half. I guess you would say that it's landscape style, laying the card down and then folding it in half. Creates a small table tent that they can then write their names on. Or if you've got the guest list, why don't you go ahead and pop out the names for them? As a matter of fact, from a festivity standpoint, one host I know of went ahead and put the names of the reindeer on the cards, and then as the participants to the event showed up, they got to pick which of the reindeer they wanted to be. They knew they weren't going to have but 8 or 9 guests, and so they made enough for everybody. And I believe, if I remember correctly, they made like 3 or 4 other fake names to add in case more players had shown up. But the idea is that with a name tag, the players can get to know each other better. It eases the transition through your icebreaker games to have names to put with faces and those kind of things. So, and not only that, in terms of the longevity, the idea of having a name tag also provides a way for the players to recall each other in later times. And in certain cases, in my games groups, for example, the players bring their name tag each session so that they can make each other aware of not only their name but their persona name in the roleplay games that I run. The next thing I want to talk about is if you are looking at hosting a games day, then consider some game themed novelties. There are cardboard box fold ups that you can get that are dice of the various sides. Perhaps some of those might be a fun novelty to provide. Or if you've got a relatively large games group, then simply buying each one of them a die is going to be a relatively reasonable expenditure to that make them feel special. And in certain cases, there are sites on the web, if you're aware of your event early enough, you can order them in advance to be customized. And so that kind of gives them a feel that there's something special about the event that you're running. Now, beyond that, and going in reverse again, if you're bringing a gift to someone at a party, whether it be the host or maybe the honoree, if it's a party for a certain family or whatever, then bringing game-related accessories, things like dice sets or a simple dice bag, or even just a rolling surface. Find a decent sized cloth piece that would work for that. Providing something like that just as a simple acknowledgement is really kind of awesome. One thing I did a couple of years ago was I created a mouse pad map that was stylized after the world of Nycos. So it was literally a map, and across the bottom it said, "This is where I want to be." And it had an arrow pointing at the world. And the idea is that you give a callback to the reason why you're getting together, the games that you're liking to play, or the style of play, or whatever. And by doing this, you're giving the players a chance to kind of become a part of the event and feel the integrity of it after the case. Of course, if we're talking about holidays like Christmas or New Year's, bringing along some sort of whiz bang or poppers or kazoos or whistles, these kind of noisemakers make a party just feel more festive. And of course, then there are obviously those that will find a way to make the use of it during the game period poignant and silly, and make it just more lighthearted. So noisemakers or poppers is a great way to go there, especially if you've got ties into, for example, some of the European holiday traditions include the pull poppers and that kind of thing as part of the Christmas spirit during your events. If you are going to be running a series of games, or you have as I do, a relatively large board games collection, then maybe you will provide the other players when they attend with a games list of the games you have, so that you're sharing with them your love of games and showing them some recommendations that they might not already have for properties. One of the biggest challenges in the world is that there's not enough communication in the world of a meaningful nature. Almost all communication is done as a mindless marketing and such. And the idea of having a unique perspective of your experience as a gamer that others can draw against to find new games is a great tool and a resource for them. Not only because they can find out about the game, but more to the point, they're going to have someone that they can call upon if they do get a hold of the game to make sure that they know how to play it and to answer any questions. It's a great interconnectivity tool to have a shared games list that bounces around. The next would be, and this is now going back to the other side, if you're the host and you're wanting to make your event really pop, consider making up coasters. There are companies that will print a coaster or a bunch of coasters within a few days, that if you know when your event is, about a month or so out, you can order coasters or placemats or whatever. And these can be designed specifically to support your property. And in many cases, the manufacturers themselves have the templates for such things, so you can even outreach to your manufacturer the games that you'd like to play and see whether or not they have these kind of resources, or at least the art to help you build them. And these don't have to be expensive. You can print placemats out on your own home color printer if you want, or you can, go to the local print shop, and generally you can get them to put together a pretty good deal and a fairly inexpensive one, especially in this season if you get to them early enough. The idea here is that it's something the players will take home with them and perhaps use again and again, and therefore remind them of how special the games event that you were hosting for that weekend was. And then one of the best is to realize that any party or event that you host is actually an opportunity for a call to action. And so therefore, just why don't you just invite the players to a regular games night? Maybe this is a first time get together, but if you're new in the community and this is also a new event, why not suggest it becomes a repeat customer, so to speak, that you'll host it again and again, and therefore start to build a games group. And by doing this, you create more camaraderie, more connection, and more opportunities to play. Now you can see how, as the head of NycosRPG, I would definitely be all about new games events, and with my experience with National Games Week and stuff, it's a great way to get to know people. So, and all of this again leads back to the concept of the National Games Week motto that we talked about last week and yesterday, which is, when you think of gifts, think of games. This is the holiday season. This is the season of giving. If you're going to give your targets, your family members, your friends, the gift of something that they can share with others, and therefore expand their community circle, and perhaps even include you, and therefore get some kind of a side benefit out of it. So this concept is that there are great expectations for all of the holiday events you'll be hosting, or indeed any other games event you might host. For more information, check back with me here at NycosRPG, and also the YouTube channel has an entire channel on how to run and administer role-play games. So check that out, the Game Master Academy. All right, let's go on to our next and final